Managing change. Hi everyone, Dennis Gilbert. Today I want to talk with you about managing change. I'll often say to people, if you want to start a conversation in the workplace, bring up change. Many people in the workplace often have an opinion or a feeling when the word change is introduced into the conversation. Sometimes those change discussions may be positive, but in many cases, people often think of change as a more negative process or a process that has failed in the past. There are many books written on the subject of change, how to better manage change, how to go about evoking positive change. Many of those books talk about successes, but just as many talk about change failures. Most change requires buy-in. Many people are familiar with the buzz phrase or the buzzword buy-in, and it's one of the most infamous words associated with change that organization leaders like to tell the next level down the organization ladder, go create buy-in for this change. Or some may ask, how are we going to create buy-in for this change? Buy-in is really created by shared experiences. So when you have people working together, communicating together, making decisions and choices together, experiencing success together, and perhaps you may have guessed it, sometimes experiencing failures together, have created that bought-in experience. So when you think about the idea of buy-in, you have to remember that it's not sufficient to just say, we're going to create buy-in. There are a lot of components associated with that process. While there may be many components associated with managing change, I want to take a moment just to highlight or mention 5. The first component is that we have to engage people. To the extent possible, we have to engage them in this process. We have to build the commitment through some sense of ownership. At a minimum, a sense of ownership for whatever their piece of this project or this change would be. The third is we have to reinforce success. When we reinforce the success, we help people to build more confidence. When we focus on the small wins, building one win upon another, we really help to reinforce that self-confidence and that confidence to get through the change. The fourth component is we have to think about how will we prevent relapse, because many people in the workplace, when they feel a lot of stress, feel a lot of pressure, or maybe are having an off day, their tendency is to revert back to their old habits, the old way of doing things, or the way that they believe was the best way. So why change? So we have to reinforce the positive nature of this change and do everything we can to prevent the relapse back into old habits. The fifth is that we have to be able to help them actualize the vision of this process. So that happens through check-ins at timelines, milestones, anything that will allow you, as someone managing change, to be able to look back and say, we're getting there, we've accomplished this, we've built upon this. The vision that we've talked about is actually coming to life. While there are many positives associated with change, positive components of change, there are also some negatives. One of the most common negatives associated with change is blame. People tend to want to place blame on other people, other departments, other work groups, other products, services. things that that organization may interface with or may purchase from other vendors. So when the change starts to hit a bump in the road, they often want to place blame. The other trouble or struggle spot may be related to diversity. We have to recognize that there are a lot of diverse situations, both with people and processes. Instead of focusing on the things that are different about those people or processes, we have to focus on what are the commonalities. And the third component that tends to cause some trouble with change is the idea of having negative emotional replays of past failures, past bad experiences. When we have those, that often causes fear. And when we're afraid, we tend to hesitate. We hesitate or procrastinate about decisions or what is the right next move. And as a result, we lose critical and valuable time to process through a change both efficiently and effectively. For some, change can't happen soon enough. For others, change is the most dreaded word in the workplace. Here is a final thought. While one business hesitates, another one capitalizes. Which one are you?